This Saturday is going to be a very interesting one as we bring to you 3 knowledge-packed webinars and 1 direct workshop which we have lined up for you. In a market like this, if you're worried about what's happening to your portfolio, the 10 a.m. webinar is for you. Join us as we speak about how market fluctuations impact your investments, hosted by Harshil and Ram. As an extension, at 11 a.m., we break it down further on how market dips affect your SIPs and what you can do to not let the noise shake your goals. This webinar will be hosted by Harshil and Aishwarya. We have 2 Women's Day specials. At 4 p.m., we have a webinar on how to simplify investing for women using multi-asset investing. If you want to understand a stress-free and holistic approach to investing, please join us for this webinar. It will be hosted by our principal fixed income strategist, Samyukta. We have another special direct workshop exclusively for women, which will discuss whether the 5K or 10K SIP route is better to reach your first milestone. We hope you can make it to the one that interests you the most. You can register using the link in the description below.
In every investor's life, there is one journey that is inevitable. It's the journey to financial freedom. Most people make it, some people don't. But even amongst those who make this journey to financial freedom, it's never the same experience. Each individual's journey is unique. It's completely centered around their lives, what work they did, how much they earned, how much they saved, what lifestyle they maintained, how much they borrowed, how much they invested, how their investments failed, how they generated returns, and how long they stayed invested. All these determine the quality, the duration, and the success of an individual's journey towards financial freedom. 2 of us are here today, Subra and I, and our journeys are not the same, they are different. The time during which we made these journeys are different, the context is different, the economic circumstances very different. The markets were extremely different, and the interest rates changed a lot. All these definitely made an impact on each of our journeys towards financial freedom, and that impact was largely a unique impact. Also, the number of companies that I could invest in were far more in my first decade of investing compared to the number of companies that Subra could invest in his first decade of investing. So, if this was our journey and how different each journey was between us, I'm sure it's very, very different between our journeys and your journeys. But there are some things which remain common to all journeys. There are some things that keep repeating in everyone's journeys. Today, we're going to talk about the difference between our journeys and about what's common between all our journeys. Let's start by asking Subra about his journey.
Actually, words like financial freedom, financial independence, value investing are all alien to me in 1979 when I started investing. I used to look for companies which paid good dividend and the dividend more than the fixed deposit rates with which you could invest, because in 12th standard you don't have too much money, right? You have some 1,000 rupees or something like that with which you start. And I was also lucky that my father allowed me to invest his money, so that's where I started. So, Apollo Hospital was available at 9 rupees and it used to pay 10 rupees dividend. I just couldn't care what Apollo Hospital was to do, but it was a good dividend yield company. So that is how I started investing.
You did 1 rupee dividend?
Yeah, 1 rupee dividend.
Correct.
Yeah, 10% dividend. 1 rupee dividend on a 9 rupee layout was a huge percentage, right? So that is how I started investing, and much later, maybe after 3-4 years, I realized that.
Which year was this?
This is 1979. I was in
I'll
class
tell
12.
you a very interesting thing. 1990, when I started investing also, Apollo Hospital was a 25 rupee stock giving a 2 rupee 50 paise dividend. That's an interesting commonality.
Yeah, so you realize that some of these companies are so good from a dividend yield point of view. I mean, even today, I think Vedanta, I must have bought it maybe in 2020 at some 67 rupees, and I think I've recovered the cost in dividends alone. When I did all these things, I did not know of a man called Graham. I did not know of a man called Warren Buffett. I did not know words like dividend-based investing. I did not know dividend yield investing. None of these words I knew. But it was
Importantly, I had heard about value investing.
Value investing, of course, value investing I had not heard of. Then slowly I started reading literature when I got into BCom, and I was in Podar College, which had a very good library. So somewhere there I went and learned these words and said, oh, this is what I was doing. I didn't know these words, but we were doing it, and it was quite logical. And then once I did CA, I started looking at balance sheets and what they were doing and things like that. This is good and bad. Because when Apollo Hospital reached 135 rupees, I said, there is no more dividend, so I should not be in this share. So I sold. I was lucky that I bought it back at 750, then I sold, I bought, I did a lot of things. But then you get...
It's not the same thing as holding.
It's not the same thing holding from 9 rupees to 1400 rupees or things like that. It's not something which we could do. But yeah, somehow, but by the time it was 84, 85, 86, I had a grasp on what to do. I had bought shares then like Coromandel and Cholamandalam and all 1986 until holding, right? So when those dividends started flowing in and all that, I said, oh, now I can think of retiring, and or now I'm financially independent. I can do whatever I want. One more thing, it gave me confidence in, let's say, 88, 89, to give up I finished my CA, I started my practice, then I said, I will not practice, and I came into the stock exchange, and I realized if I start building enough dividends, at some stage, I need not do any work.
I'm going to stop you here. You are a CA, you are a practicing CA, you give up a practice to become a stockbroker.
Correct. Which is unheard of.
So, your profession may have been extremely stable. The stock market is anything but stable. You chose to give up a stable profession to take up an unstable profession, though both are professions.
True.
Right?
True.
Over to you.
Yeah, see, this also comes from the confidence that I mean, my father was CEO in a company, so I knew there was financial stability. Even if I had not earned anything, he would have fed me till the age of 40 or something. So I knew I had that stability to fall back on. So I would not, so that gave me more confidence. But you know one thing about being on your own, you're constantly worried that this year I did well, next year I do not know what will happen. That insecurity always remains. It takes a long time for that insecurity to go away because you do not know. The only thing stable for me was my dividends, not my broking income. And in I think 93 or 94, my broking income fell 95%. The market crashed, the phone would not ring, there was no income. Then we were, after that we became members at the National Stock Exchange. So I think those times the bell would just not ring. So till 2001, 99, 2000, I said now I'm not going to do any work. I don't need to do any work to earn money. But then I started doing a lot of training and things like that, which was nice, money for jam. I still do training, I love it, but I don't have to do it. That's, I think, financial independence gives you that, financial freedom gives you that. That when work comes your way, you're going to do it. You're not going to sleep all day. I mean, you are going to do work which is interesting. I love talking about wealth. I love making videos about wealth. I love lecturing about wealth. I write about it, and so that work still goes on. I mean, next week I'm still doing a lecture. So these kind of things happen, but yeah, financial independence or financial freedom gives you the choice of what to do, with whom to do, how much to do. All that is your choice.
Once you began as a broker, you had your service income, and you had your investment income, which is capital gain, and you had your dividend income. There are three streams of income.
True.
You said your focus was more on the dividend income, because you said the service income was very erratic or very, very weak, and investment income also is a function of service income, because if you cannot trade, if there is no activity in the market,
Correct.
It's very difficult to make investment income.
Correct.
Stock price may not move up. So
Correct.
You may have stock price like still water, but dividend would keep coming.
Correct.
What kind of dividend yield Very enjoying in this phase? Because you're talking about 89, 90. What was the dividend yield at that
I
time?
won't remember the numbers, but I remember there were times when interest rates would be very high. I remember Reliance paying 16%, 17% kind of rates of interest. At that time, I don't think dividend yield was too high. But then you are not looking at dividend yield as a percentage, but you are looking at dividend yield as a total income to run your household. Was that adequate? Yes, that was getting to be adequate. So I knew I could run my house with that income. Of course, my wife was earning, and that was also getting built up, right? My wife's portfolio was getting built at that time. I did not touch her income, but I knew that was getting built up. Even today, she's got, I think her portfolio is bigger than my portfolio because it is left untouched. And then the dividends came, dividends got reinvested, and it's what I would call a virtuous cycle. Once you start that cycle, then it just grows at such a fast pace. You know, one thing very funny, power of compounding, you can read, you can write, you can do videos. I've written a book on that, but it hits you only when you start enjoying the benefits and say, wow, my income is going up really pretty fast just because you're not touching your corpus.
So what do you do when you see that, when it's working?
Nothing. It just feels good and say, wow, this is growing. You really don't, you don't think you need to do anything because your other income, your dividend income, all that, and something your household is.
So what is this enjoyment that you're talking about?
Actually, I find it very funny, but I'm sure that if somebody says there's a holiday, let's go, and it is going to cost so much, I don't have to think twice whether I should do it or not do it. So it gives you that confidence. It gives you the confidence when somebody says this person is in trouble and needs some help for medical reasons or educational reasons, you don't hesitate to give. So that kind of confidence is what it gives you. Not that you will do anything more with it, but it gives you that confidence saying, I don't have to check my bank balance before I issue a check. That is, I think, that confidence is what financial freedom gives you.
We are again going into defining how you judge what is financial freedom. What is the point when you say I have financial freedom now? Investing, you think that if I come to this level, that is financial freedom. When you come to that level, you realize that you are wrong. Then you set another level based on your more recent facts and beliefs. When you go to that level, again you start revisiting it. You start thinking maybe this is also not enough. What is that point when you felt truly that this is enough?
See, there are two things. One is I married a girl whose requirements are much less than mine. She didn't want to spend on anything, so there was no great expense. That is one thing which I've seen. When your spouse spends much more and she wants a different standard of living and you're spending too much, then you keep revisiting your financial freedom number. In my case, that didn't happen. My wife was just not willing to spend. She doesn't travel. She has no expense. She's very low maintenance. So that is one important thing. So there is no, and I was not taking any peer pressure of saying, oh, he's bought a car, this guy is not a car. I used to have a car and it used to be very useful to pick me up, pick my daughter, drop me in office, drop her in school. So, some longest trips were made, 6-7 bags. When that stopped and I did not have to, my wife stopped working, I said I don't need a car, so I could get rid of it. So lifestyle choices of what you wear, where you go, what you do, whether to have an office. I today don't have an office, I work out of home. So all those things are financial freedom. So you realize if your dividend income is 1x your expenses, you feel comfortable.
Annual expense.
Annually.
That is financial freedom for you.
That's financial freedom enough for you. For me. That was sufficient for me to say, okay, in the worst case, I was still earning. Remember, I was still talking and all those things I was doing. So I said, my dividend income is equal to my household expenses. Now I'm financially free.
So your concept is that the dividend will keep growing and that growth will take care of the inflation in household expense. That is the principle.
Absolutely. That's the principle. And if you don't touch the dividend for whatever reasons, you have other incomes coming in and all that, and you have a standard of living which allows that, then in about 5 years, your dividend income is 2x your annual expenses. After that, it is only that number keeps increasing, you feel more and more comfortable, and that to me is financial freedom. And I'm saying I may not exhaust my portfolio going into the grave. I may not touch my capital till I'm 80, 90 or maybe not even after that. So that gives you more confidence. You don't do anything because you've got more money. You don't get up in the morning and say, oh, I got financial freedom. Nothing like that happens. But it allows you to relax and say, okay, now I can choose what to do. More and more financial freedom, more and more security, because things could go wrong. Remember, I had taken this decision of financial retirement before the 2003 to 2007, 2008 boom. So that boom actually helped me saying, okay, now I'm more confident that I don't need to work.